Hello, this is Robert from the Open Eye, and I'm doing the book thing a little bit differently today because we're open, people are starting to come in, and I can't read 3 books at once without getting interrupted. So I'm going to do 1 book at a time, but hopefully I'll do it 3 times, and we'll see if this works out. Today's first book is The Chickien Kabalah by Lon Milo DeQuette. I love Lon. He's a former teacher of mine. He's awesome. He's like meeting Santa Claus. He's one of the few people that you'll ever meet that you can describe as a holy man. He's an awesome dude, and he's also funny. So if you've ever been exposed to the Kabbalah and you hear all these grand technical words, throw those thoughts out the window for me. Lon is very simplistic, very straightforward, and introduces you to a fascinating life perspective in a very funny way. And I'm going to give you an example of that. He goes through the Hebrew letters, and this one here is the Hebrew letter Lamed, which he describes as something that looks like a snake that swallowed a brick and is now having second thoughts. You find humor like that in all sorts of Lon DeQuette books. And so I'm going to read from chapter 1, Frequently Asked Questions about the Chickien Kabalah. Without a doubt, the first question people asked Rabbi Lamed Ben Clifford concerned his choice of the word chicken to describe his brand of Kabbalistic study and practice. It is clear to me, after reviewing scores of letters on the subject, that he delighted in giving different answer to every individual who asked. Why do you call it Chickien Kabalah? Indeed, for this reason, I had altogether given up the idea of including any of them in the frequently asked questions chapter. Then, shortly before returning to the last draft of the manuscript to my publisher, I received a telephone call from one of Rabbi's students living in New York City. She was a wealth of information and happily corroborated the following story, which was part of a 1987 letter to a Jamaican disciple. Why do I call it Chickien Kabalah? Actually, the term Chickien Kabalah issued from the mouth of an arrogant, hateful old man who attended my New York City "You Can Forget 90% of What You Know About the Kabbalah" seminar. After my talk, he approached me, so obviously infuriated that he could hardly speak. He said, "Sir, you blasphemy! You are not a Kabbalist. You don't even pronounce the word correctly. It is Kabalah. Kabalah. What you teach is not Kabalah. It is... The poor man's face turned bright red, and his whole body began to shake as he searched his mind for the word foul, enough to describe my work. It is Chickien Kabalah." It was instantly obvious to everyone in the room that he was painfully embarrassed at his ill-chosen and infantile words that blurted mindlessly out of his mouth. People started to chuckle. He then became so flustered that he spat upon the floor and said, "You and your teachings merit only spit. Spit!" And he stormed out of the hall. As I vowed to interpret every phenomenon as a direct communication from God to my soul, I recognized this awful, slobbering man as the angel of the Lord, sent to reveal to me the name of the spiritual science that would forever cling to my name. That night, in meditation, I examined his message kabbalistically. The Hebrew word for phlegm or spittle is kach, and the word for merit is ne. To my great joys, the phrase merit spit enumerates to the number 93, one of the holiest numbers. Number 93 relates not only to the divine concepts of love and will, but also to the great secret word by which we triumph over death. I then looked down at my notes to discover that the very same letters, arranged in the very same order, rendered in English characters the word chicken. I cannot say that I actually believe the above story. It might have some basis in fact, but like most of Rabbi's stories, it is probably pure fiction, or as he would say, a holy whopper. As we are soon to see, however, the lies of Rabbi Lamed Ben Clifford can contain some very great truths. The list of questions and answers below was not compiled by Ben Clifford. I compiled it with the help of his secretary and magical son, Gizmo Ben Lamed, for nearly 6 years of the rabbi's personal correspondence with disciples and detractors. What is Chickien Kabalah? Chickien Kabalah is a deceptively self-effacing term given to those aspects of the holy Hebrew Kabbalah that are of practical value to practitioners of the Western Hermetic spiritual tradition, while giving the most profound respect to individuals and institutions that teach the rich parochial traditions of speculative Kabbalah. Chickien Kabbalists, like students of Zen, focus pragmatically on the mind-transcending techniques of the art. Who are Chickien Kabbalists? Anybody can be a Chickien Kabbalist, but at this point in history, most students of tarot, psychology, astrology, ceremonial magic, Rosicrucianism, alchemy, mystic Freemasonry, or witchcraft. Is Chickien Qabala real Kabbalah? Hell yes! Don't worry about it. And don't let anyone tell otherwise. So-called Orthodox Kabbalahs are only other people's Chickien Kabbalahs that have been around for a very long time. Is there a correct way to spell the word Kabbalah? Hell no! You're a Chickien Kabbalist. Don't worry about it. Kabalah with a C, K, Q, C are all wrong. So they may as well all be correct. We'll talk about that more when you are a little more familiar with the Hebrew alphabet. Is it hard to become a Chickien Kabbalist? Hell no! Don't worry about it. But if you feel the need for some external validation, sign this. There's a little form you can fill out to say you're a Chickien Kabbalist. Cut it out and put it in your wallet. No need to send in an application or pay any dues. If the omniscient deity really exists, it will surely recognize your bold act of spiritual audacity. There, you're a full-fledged Chickien Kabbalist. Now, the first thing you need to learn is that everyone's Kabbalah is uniquely their own. Your Kabbalah is not my Kabbalah or anybody else's. A personal Kabbalah is placed in your hands the moment you take up the study. It's alive and grows upon what you feed it. The more you learn, the more you use. No two students work or study the same. For example, I know people who have studied most, if not all, of the classic texts. They know their Hebrew backward and forward, and a whole poop load of traditional correspondences. They can twist and abuse numbers and letters all night long and send you out the door screaming with their non-stop raving. They can manipulate your address and phone number to prove that you're the Antichrist and your real name is Rumpelstiltskin. However, all that doesn't necessarily mean they are using that knowledge to do anything other than bore their friends to death. On the other hand, you might be inclined to learn and use only one or two Kabbalistic tricks of the trade. That's fine. Used every day with tenacity and skill, even the most elementary exercises can drive you crazy just as fast as the complex and exotic operations. Maybe faster. Don't worry about it. Do I need to be Jewish? Hell no. You're a Chickien Kabbalist. Don't worry about it. You don't need to be born anything, believe anything, or belong to any religion, cult, order, or political party. You don't need to believe in a Hebrew God or Moses or the great goddess or Jesus or L. Ron Hubbard or Muhammad or any other savior, prophet, or salesperson. You don't need a faithful heart or an open mind. The brain-warping power of Kabbalistic thought will soon make all those things irrelevant. Will I need to learn the Hebrew language? Hell no! You're a Chickien Kabbalist. Don't worry about it. You don't have to learn to speak Hebrew, but you will have to recognize and be able to write 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet. You will also have to know the meanings and numerical values of each Hebrew letter. There's no escaping this part of your education. Eventually, as you study and work with the alphabet, you will become familiar with the various Hebrew words that are important to the system. Soon, if your studies take you in that direction, you'll be able to recognize these words in the original Hebrew texts. This skill is very impressive to friends and relatives who always thought you were stupid and unspiritual. Best of all, it will make them feel guilty and have agonizing doubts about their own religious beliefs because they can't read their own scriptures in the original tongue. Go ahead, rub it in. Be a Chickien Kabbalist. It's fun. Won't I be intimidated by serious Jewish Kabbalists and others who speak Hebrew? Hell no! You're a Chickien Kabbalist. Don't worry about it. The first liberating secret of Chickien Kabbalists learn is that, as far as Kabbalah is concerned, there is no such thing as correct Hebrew pronunciation. Yep, that's right. No matter how you pronounce the various words in the system, some snob is sure to pop up, especially in public, and correct you. Remember that Hebrew is a spoken language and as a spoken language is relatively young. Sure, there are those who speak Yiddish or Judaismo, Sephardic, or Ashkenazic, and a score of other regional and ethnic dialects. There are correct ways to pronounce these dialects, but nobody, I repeat, nobody, knows for sure what the sacred language of ancient Hebrew sounded like, or even if it was spoken at all. Pronunciation has less than nothing to do with the study and practical spiritual applications of the Kabbalah. Be proud of the fact that you are informed and honest enough to admit that you're not sure how the words are pronounced, and, what's more, you don't even care. Such crass indifference is unbearable to those who would dare belittle the work of the Chickien Kabbalist. That being said, it is always a good idea to remember Rabbi Lama's helpful hint number 1. Never correct other Kabbalists' pronunciation of Hebrew words, no matter how silly it sounds. First of all, they might be right. Second, your silence will make them think that you are a highly intelligent person because you agree with them. Rabbi Lamad's helpful hint number 2. Better still, just don't talk with other Kabbalists. I hear the Kabbalah is based on the Bible. Do I have to believe in the Bible? Hell no, you're a Chickien Kabbalist. Don't worry about it. You don't have to believe in anything. If the Bible leaves a bad taste in your mouth, welcome to the club. But before you throw old King James out the window, I'd like to point out that the Bible is holy. But so is the phone book, Webster's Dictionary, Robert's Rules of Order, and the menu at McDonald's. As you will learn from the 10 Commandments, everything is holy and anything is capable of being a vehicle of divine revelation. Key books of the Bible, however, were written by Kabbalists for Kabbalists, so should be of particular interest to us. I know you're probably not thrilled about Bible study. Perhaps, like me, you've had unpleasant experiences with people who are convinced that the Bible teaches the most ridiculous and monstrous things. Well, now you can tell all those spiritual bullies who try to terrorize you with internal agonies of hell that they can just go there. I'm going to share a little secret with you that only Chickien Kabbalists and a few musicians have the courage and wit to handle. The people who wrote Kabbalistic books of the Bible never intended for them to be read by the public. There, I said it. I feel so much better. Be honest with yourself. Deep in your heart, you've always known it was true, haven't you? How many times have you tried to wade into Genesis or Ezekiel and finally just gave up and said, what the hell are these guys talking about? Don't feel bad. You weren't meant to know what they were talking about. Not unless you held the vital interpretive keys. I know that sounds snobby and elitist, but it's the truth. These texts were crafted by mystics possessed a profound understanding of the universe and the mysteries of human existence. At a time when writing was reserved for priests and royalty, they used poetry and parables to express thoughts an everyday language could not accommodate. They assembled phrases with great art from individual words that conveyed an even deeper level of truth. And finally, each word was made up of unique symbolic letters, each with its yet revealed another story. A story so profound and abstract it could only be told and understood in the pure language of numbers and mathematics. These sages were full-time holy guys. They wrote stuff for other full-time holy guys, and the tiny segment of any generation who would be equipped with the intelligence, spiritual drive, and leisure time necessary to embark on a lifelong quest for enlightenment. I assure you, these ancient mystics would have produced radically different body of work had they in their wildest nightmares imagined that some future dark age their secret-coded scriptures would be seized by half-witted and sadistic European cannibals and interpreted literally like some grotesque and racist history book. Will the study of Kabbalah make me a better person? No! You have to do that yourself. So that's chapter 1 of the Chickien Kabbalah. We have a copy here at the shop. If you've heard about it from us, please buy it from us and support local. But if you don't want to buy it from us, buy it anyway. Lon's a nice guy, and he has made no other provisions for his retirement. So support the holy men of the world. Have a great day.